I'm like really excited that you're going to be at the
Oh,
One for
okay,
All
thank you.
Festival. I was not for some horrible reason familiar with your work before, and then uh, John Tracy, the artistic director of the Marin Shakespeare Company, he said, "Well, I have a friend who's like amazing, and and he does like, and he says something like, he does like magic and card tricks and stuff. Okay, cool. It sounds cool, but I just
Right.
really had no idea what to expect, and then um, he sent me like a 20-minute clip, I think from Obscura,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that which is a show that you'll be doing with us. That and I watched it with my wife Sarah, and we were like, "Oh my god, this guy is incredible!" Like, we were like all excited. I mean, like I absolutely, totally based on that alone have like fallen in love with your work. Like it's just it's so is. I mean, it's magical in an emotional, spiritual way
Mm-hmm.
to me as well.
Mm-hmm.
Even there is also magic, but it's like it just man, it makes me happy, and it's delightful and funny, and you're an amazing storyteller. And I haven't seen anything like what you do, exactly what you do. And it's also cool that like what I was watching. So I want to describe for people before they've seen you, at least in this show, that what you're doing these. Well, I guess you should describe it, but you're doing the. Say what you do,
Yeah.
Christian.
So, Obscura is like a little anthology, close-up magic show. Little short stories about death and war and the devil, told with playing cards and tarot cards and photographs and whatnot. Like I said, it is an anthology, so it's actually a bunch of short stories from some of my favorite magicians. That kind of the way the way the world the way the magic world works is quite often a magician will create something, they'll do it for a long time, they may publish it or market it to the rest of the magic community. We buy the book, we sort of have the implied right to perform it typically. um, and so there's all these little short pieces that I love, that all of us love, that none of us ever do because they don't fit our they don't typically fit the show that we're doing, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
they play flat on a table, which kind of means it's can only really be seen by two or three people at a time. Um, and a long time ago, I said to myself, I'm gonna make a whole show just of those pieces that I love that I don't get to do.
Uh-huh.
Um, but like an so it's like a little bit of my stories, other people's stories, my rewriting of their stories, and most of them are fully aware, well, the ones that are still with us, that I was doing that. And I was sent them the clips, and they were really happy about it. Um, there, like a good anthology, there is something that ties them all together that I will not reveal. That's kind of where I kind of take my own creator, director, performer eye and like let me take all these stories and make them one thing together. And so it's very much me creating this experience for all of you. So there's a whole thing that you didn't get from that 20-minute thing,
Right.
20-minute video that you will not know until you see the show.
No,
Um,
that's true. I can't speak to. I'm not speaking to you from knowledge of having seen the full show, so I don't
yeah,
know what that tying together theme is.
yeah.
I'm
Oh, and
very excited
I, I
to
forgot to
find
say
out.
that the whole thing happens with the camera right over my hands. So really,
Right.
you're seeing everything projected kind of off to one side of me, nice and big. So it's like I'm a creepy Mr. Rogers telling you stories, um, and then you're seeing them sort of get illustrated with my hands and playing cards over here on the side. And yeah, I mean, it's can't say much more about. I don't want to say much more about it, but there is both a distance that I put between me and the audience, and yet I invite you in all at the same time. So
Yeah.
that I'm always kind of playing with that tension, even though I'm just doing cute little card tricks on a table. Um I mean, you saw the 20-minute clip, so you know a bit more. Um, but there's an element of of playfulness and darkness and audience participation, um, and there's always a little bit element of I'm playing with you and I'm putting you off, and I'm playing with you and I'm putting you off.
Yeah.
Uh, but so to me, it's I like to try and make all of my shows a little experience that you're in. Like the idea is like you're locked in a room with a magician in a magic show. What's going to happen,
Right.
right? So, uh, so yeah, so that's kind of where all that kind of comes in. And
No, it's true.
yeah,
You
well, I'll
have
say
it.
much more after that.
I'm sorry. What?
Sorry, what did you say?
No, I was speaking over you. I was just saying that, yeah, it was the vibe of who you are is very mysterious. And I mean, it still is even a little bit now. You know, like you got a really cool sort of mysterious vibe to, like approachable, but also like magical, So
It's just,
it,
it's the set. It's just the set.
yeah, no, that's the thing. It's definitely, but I also, what's cool to me is I watched a 20-minute excerpt and never saw you until now. Like I actually had
Right,
never
right.
seen you because what I saw in the video was what is shown on the screen,
Hmm.
which is from the camera that's over the table. So
Right.
you were that sort of added to the mystery and the weirdness of it to me. It's like you're this voice. You're this voice and you're this voice like doing these tricks with these weird cards, but then also telling these like fairy tales and funny things and dark things and these stories and then you're obviously like really skilled at it, and so it's magic
Yeah.
and stuff. But it was also like I'm sort of the wizard. It's
Right,
like,
right.
but I guess the audience went yeah there that's more like that. But when I know that in the theater when people come to the Marin Shakespeare Company they will physically see you there as well as having the screen above you
Yeah.
and obviously that has worked for people. That's been very successful. The experience for the audience of having those two levels of you
Right.
and
Yeah,
allows
I
you to do it for more than a few people at a time.
exactly. And that, I used to be an artist in residence at Exit Theater. Um, may it rest in peace. Um, and but I would not have these shows that I've had without them at all. And but sometimes, as you know, indie theater gets lean, and so I
No,
remember in the
really.
beginning, and sometimes I'm like, oh, there's six people here, right? Um, and there are times where early on in the run of that show, this is now a decade ago. Oh my goodness, 15 years ago. Um, wow, I've been doing that show for a while. When there's only like five or six people, I would be like, well, this feels a little depressing, right? Because it's six people who are scattered among the room, right, in the room, and just feels so empty. And so I would just like unplug everything and turn the table towards the audience, and I would bring those six people up on the stage and make them sit at the table with me. So now I just gave them a legit close-up magic show.
Right, right.
They didn't get to have that camera experience, which is the way I designed it visually, but they at least got to feel the immediacy of that. So it was kind of nice to be able to have that backup plan of, oh, I can make this into an actual tiny, tiny table magic show, um,
Yeah.
on those days where things were lean and there was more air than there were people in the room.
Yes, uh I'm wildly familiar with that situation as a performer myself. And in fact, I've had a lot of remarkable experiences myself developing solo shows as a performer because I develop my shows on my feet and improvs and stuff. And frequently I've had very small audiences, right? And so I've had experiences where it's like, oh my God, there's just like three people or five people or six people. And then, but then I've also gone like, well, I feel pretty comfortable like telling you some really weird stuff now because it's
Hmm.
like this is very intimate. Like we're, you know, when I did
Right.
the run of my first show, I kept being put in smaller and smaller spaces within this one theater as fewer and fewer people were coming until eventually I was just in a room, literally an office in the building that I had to turn on. The lights were the fluorescent lights in the office, and then I would ask people if they wanted anything from the concessions area, and I would go get their concessions, and I borrowed the boom box from the concessions, and then at the end, I would frequently, because I don't drive, I would frequently ask of the three or four people who would be my audience, I'd say, "Can someone drive me home?" And frequently they would. And so I even had just working on my latest show, the one of the my new show that I'll be doing at the festival, What Is to Be Done. I've had
Hmm.
people coming into my current improvs who are like, I mean, a bunch of them who are like, I drove you home from that gig. I drove you
Need to write
like,
home.
yeah, and you
Right.
you you brought me you brought me refreshments, and stuff. It is
Wow.
because it's also besides other things, it's memorable. And my wife, Sarah, she had one of her experiences with another solo performer before she met me that sort of like blew her mind. It was like this amazing experience. She was actually the only person in the audience, like, and she's super shy. So she was like, "Well, this is going to be awful." and then it turned out to be like fabulous. So anyhow, I'm totally into it, but I think
Yeah,
I hope a lot of people do come to see you, and a lot of
right.
people should come see you. So
Yeah.
I just like a bunch of the people in the show, they're friends of mine and people I came up with, right? So I've
Yeah.
known them a long time, I've performed with them a long time, and you are new to me as a person and as an artist,
Yeah.
and so I'm like, it's just like so cool. It's like,
Thanks.
really, like I get to see you do this show. It's like that's what I want to do based on
Yeah.
the 20 minutes. Like
Right.
what
Right.
I would like to do when I go to the theater is see you perform that full show.
Right. Right.
That's
Right.
and
Right.
you
Right.
actually will at my festival, or our festival. So that's
Yeah.
like
I mean,
that's great.
it's weird. I've always been in this weird little liminal place of like my shows are solo shows, but they're not really solo shows, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's still a magic show. There's still audience participation, right? One
Mm-hmm.
of them was like very solo style. It was very kind of personal. Let me tell you stuff about my life. The others they're a little more distant. It's about me creating the creepy experience, and that is the message you're getting through. That is the point that I'm trying to make. I'm not expressing myself. I'm giving you an experience, and I'm hoping you get what I'm trying to say, right? Same thing happens with Obscura. So it's kind of like they're n- a solo play, but not a solo play. They're a magic show, but not quite a magic show. Because I used to get people who were coming in from Vallejo, bringing the girlfriend on a date, thinking magic show in downtown San Francisco, and they're like, "What is this? What is going? What is?" They're like,
He's
"This."
talking about death while doing. He's like, yeah,
Right, right.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, I've always been in this weird like I am theater, but not quite theater. I'm a magic show, but not quite a magic show. I'm a solo show, but not quite a solo show. I've sort of been in this weird in between space. So it kind of means like it's been interesting to see like who ends up knowing about me, and then who like. But also since I'm not in those spaces as much, I'm not as known. Like say like I'm not in the Marsh scene, right? Where
mm-hmm.
like the epicenter of solo in the Bay Area. So it's always sort of been interesting to be like, who knows about me, who doesn't know about me? How do I end up getting to other audiences?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah,
But did you?
it's been an interesting journey doing what I do.
I bet. Well, I actually want to. I'm curious about that because I'm curious about in my own experiences, sort of finding my own voice and then thinking about what you do and all of the ways that it doesn't, it's like something, but it's not exactly that thing. It's like this other thing that's not exactly, that I'm curious about how that process has been for you of finding your own thing, like whether you felt like, well, if I'm going to do magic, I have to do this, but I can't do that. And then, but I want to do this, but I mean, has it been sort of this evolving process of discovering what you are and who you are and the boundaries that you don't need to follow? Or
Yeah,
did
I
you just
mean,
know right away, like you just knew I can do what I do?
no, I mean, I've always been involved in theater. I always wanted to figure out how I was gonna mix magic and theater together. I was always doing storytelling of some sort. Even before I was doing spooky storytelling, I was still in the magic scene here. I was known as like the storytelling magician.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I still didn't know quite that I was going to go in the darker, spooky range. Speaking as someone who doesn't actually watch horror films because he's a scaredy cat, um, and uh, and so it kind of like became this slow discovery. I mean, I think I kind of like fell into it and created. I didn't discover myself, but created myself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there was a big turning point. Long story short, early
I'll
30s.
make it long if you want. Yeah, someone
So
someone
I
else
guess we
can
have.
cut it. Yeah.
That's true. Um, like early 30s, I was still, still been struggling, but struggling performer and actor, and I don't know, maybe you as a fellow male will understand. There's a thing in your early 30s where you start going, how am I doing this? I need to make a living and I'm panicking, right? Like you're kind of feeling like I had sort of had like my own kind of clock that said, why aren't you like doing better and why aren't you making more money and why aren't you a little more successful and why
Yeah.
how can you pay your own bills? How are you going to be able to like support a family? I still don't have one, but how are
Just
you
so
going to
well, no,
support a
I was
family?
going to say just to give you a little glimpse into well, maybe not the future, but I can tell you from now experience that all that stuff happens in your 60s as well.
Oh God.
It's like
God.
30s is nothing. It's like I'm 66, I was going like, but how am I gonna like, well, can I keep doing
Right,
this? And
right.
yeah.
And, oh my God. So I was going through like panic attacks in my early 30s. I didn't know they were panic attacks.
Mm-hmm.
There was a bad stomach. It was basically bad stomach stuff was going on,
Mm-hmm.
and eventually I found myself in the Kaiser ER one afternoon, and the doctor was like, "Oh, you're going through XYZ." I'm like, yeah. They're like, "Oh, those are panic attacks." I'm like, "What?" And so kind of gave me some exercises and whatnot to deal with, and I my girlfriend at the time we step out of the ER, and at this point I had no money. I was not like ingesting art, right? You got to because I didn't want to spend the money on the theater show, on the movie ticket, on the book, and I'm like, babe, shopping therapy, and we went to like Virgin Megastore when that was a thing, and I like bought CDs that I wanted. Went to the
One
magic
in San
shop.
Francisco, the
Yeah,
San Francisco one.
they used to be at
Yeah,
Powell, the old Virgin Megastore.
and
Yeah,
Powell. Yeah, because I still remember, like, oh my god, I can listen to samples on
right.
those headphones. Who knows what bugs,
Oh
what
yeah.
germs are on these headphones? I don't really want to think back to it, but yes, it was magical,
Can you
magical
imagine
place.
COVID in the era of the Virgin Megastore? Oh my God.
Wow.
Um, and and so we went to the magic shop, Misdirections Magic Shop over at Ninth between Irving and Lincoln, and
I know that
I
shop.
was
We
kind of
pass it.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
and that's yeah, I'm there all the time, and very much like a third space for many of us. And there was this book that I was curious about, and I won't give it away because then give away more secrets. But it was a book by a magician from Belgium whose concept was that he's not a magician, he's the curator of a supernatural museum.
Oh wow, cool.
And his whole home, I've been there, his whole home is actual sort of departments of antiques that were designed mostly for occult purposes. Whether they were successfully used is a whole other story.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah.
they were designed for, right?
Hmm.
Um, and he will give you a tour of his museum of supernatural antiquities. And then every once in a while, like stop, take one down, and present it with you at the table. And magic happens, and suddenly you're bringing out your psychic abilities, and paranormal things are happening, right? And it was all very actually kind of downplayed and psychological and subtle and beautiful. And even I, as a magician, knowing what he was doing half the time, because I just knew, right? Uh, my brain could not help but fall down the rabbit hole into his world.
And this is
Uh,
from get this book that you purchased
yes,
following the revelation that you've been having panic attacks.
yes,
Yes.
and and I'm reading this, going, oh, "This is what I want to do." It was like
Mm.
I could create this magical world with no money, right? Because there's no budget, right? I'm at Exit Theater. I got no money.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but I'm sitting there going, oh, here's how I can involve my knowledge of theater, my ability of storytelling, uh, to imbue these items with magic and in a theatrical way that then creates this magical alternate reality experience for everybody here, right? And I'm like, this is how I can do all those things. And then I realized, oh, but this is spookier stuff. And oh, I'm now going to essentially be doing seance magic,
Mm.
which may not make sense. I mean, I don't really do all seance magic, but the way seance magic works is, there's never a ghost in the room. You're never manifesting a ghost in the room. But if you do five or six little tricks, if you go see Paranormal Activity, go see Paranormal Activity at ACT. It's fantastic. It's great fun,
It's
and
wait,
you will
that's
see
a
how.
movie or
Well, so it's a movie franchise,
yeah.
but essentially like four or five regional companies around the country were invited to co-produce and bring the show,
Oh, okay,
bring a
cool.
brand new version of the show to all. So ACT just opened last night, um, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's very good writing overall, very good writing. The actors are fantastic. I know the man who designed the illusions for the show, and it's a scary play.
Yeah.
And
Sounds great.
if you go see that, that's a great example of you don't see a ghost. You don't see a ghost. I don't want to give everything away, but four or five things happen in succession. Like something moves, something falls, something breaks. There's now a ghost in the room, right?
Right, right.
Uh, so taking that same idea of with my low budget, lo-fi way of four or five little magical things happening at the same time, and suddenly the audience is going, "What's going on?" you know,
Uh-huh.
and using that to not just create a feeling of paranormal experience, but am I a time traveler in one show of mine? Am I the devil in another show of mine? Am I, is this doll haunted in another show of mine? Or am I just a little mentally ill? And I just let you decide that. But, it's kind of like I will talk to a doll of mine quietly in my head in front of the audience. And then weird magical things seem to happen. And I just let you decide if the doll is haunted or not, or if I'm just a little crazy. But then all this weird stuff happens, right?
Yeah, which so
Um,
yeah.
so that I'm not doing that show at our solo festival. Um, but yeah, it inspired all of that, and so I found myself going down the spooky range. Um, that you'll get a hint of, like the tiniest hint of with Obscura. Um, but yeah, so that's sort of how all that came to be, and I never thought I was going to do that. I I mean, by that point, I had already been like helping a friend of mine create his ghost tour, but I was helping him
Mm,
theatrically, right? And
yeah.
now I own the ghost tour because he retired after 17 years.
Mm,
And that's been my bread and butter here in the Bay Area. Uh, but again, like I never thought I was going to be doing that. I'm I come from musicals and shticky acting. Give me like a give me one-liners and the fun song, and
mm,
I'm a happy actor, right?
yeah.
Um, and I even like around 2006 or 7 even stopped acting for the most part to essentially rebrand myself because I didn't want to be thought of as the funny actor who's now going to be doing the spooky show. You would never take me seriously with the spooky
Right.
part. So
Right.
I kind of just like killed that for a while just to kind of recreate myself as this guy who has devils and accoutrements and
Yeah.
such in his home, uh, which I never thought I would ever be. Again, to me, I am musical theater and Disney movies.
Yes,
Um,
but I mean, based on my like, the 20 minutes that my wife and I watched from Obscura, like I was scared to death of you. I'm still actually somewhat nervous, but it's just because you're really, but it's very pleasurable, but it's
right.
like really mysterious because you're not goofy in your
Yeah.
your persona. You are in control and possibly demonic and are doing things that would have no rational explanation unless they were actual magic, like based on
Right.
what
Right.
I'm seeing, right?
Right. Right.
And
Right.
so yeah, and it's also, but it's really it's such a wonderful state to be in as an audience member, but it's really
Yeah.
unusual, and I find it really just beautiful that you found this voice for yourself, that you found out who you were, and you created who you are, and are
Yeah.
creating who you are, but that it wasn't what you anticipated. It wasn't even
Yeah.
what you were, in a sense. You
Yeah.
know,
No.
no, you were this guy, but then actually you were that guy. Well, you're both
Right.
guys, but it's like you
Yeah.
wouldn't think that the goofy one-liner musicals funny guy would be the super scary, brilliant, ghosty guy, you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
And yet there you are.
And and to me, it's really all just more character acting.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different character, and I have to make them really subtle at points to make the spooky moments land harder.
Yeah.
You don't make spooky by playing it up. You make it spooky by playing it down.
Okay.
Because it becomes a little more real and a little more unnerving. You know,
Uh-huh.
when you play it up, it feels safe. It feels like this
Interesting.
is a performance. When you
Yeah.
play it down, people kind of don't know how to take you anymore.
Uh-huh.
And these are all things I learned the hard way just doing it. I mean,
Right,
half of
right.
it came from just actor instinct of like, oh, if this is the persona I have to put on, okay, well, I have to play it like this, I have to do it like that. Okay, I want them to actually kind of question if this is real or not. So I need to like not play this. I kind of had to puzzle that out myself, trial and error.
Yeah.
Again, what Exit Theater gave me was believed in me, co-produced me, and let me just try it and muck it up on my own. Um, and and then studying uh, spooky magic books. It's a very very specific niche called bizarre magic, where some people have done this for a while, and you learn from it.
That's a term
Um,
of art, bizarre magic.
Bizarre
Yeah.
magic. It
Yeah.
came about, I think, in the '60s. Uh, one person, but arguably two people one of the states, one in Scotland, independently around the same time, we're like, we're really tired of all like the sequence and the lovely lady assistant kind of thing. Like even they were tired of that in the '60s, right?
Yeah,
They're like, this thing is a good shot of the Gothic in there, and they did it.
yeah.
And you've never heard of them because they were so underground. Um,
uh
but within Bizarre Magic, we're like, oh my goodness, it's those are the granddaddies of what we do now. Um,
So cool.
and it began to expand. A lot of it can be middle-aged men living out their creature feature dreams, wishing that
uh
they were still a creature feature host, right? That could be a little too campy, a little too. I have my opinions, um, but some of them are professionals that have like done it professionally, have put on entertaining seances or theatrical magic shows, and now it's kind of began to expand into even encompassing storytelling magic. Basically, the kind of things that don't work in all the other magic genres. Close-up magic can be very flashy and full of cards and that kind of a thing. And then there's the illusions that you see in Vegas, and we know that the sets and the box and the lighting is helping some way. And I still find that amazing. I still love that stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But it's interesting to see how much audiences are not gravitating to that anymore.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That is really interesting because
People really love
it's
close-up
flashy.
magic.
It's flashy. It's sort of the cliche now in a sense because that's what
Right,
you've seen on TV a lot.
right. But people really love close-up magic more now that even when I think the close-up magic that I'm watching is boring, I'm like watching the rest of the room going, they're enthralled right now. And like
Mhm.
there's a zeitgeist happening right now for close-up magic and even mentalism the past 20 some odd years has really had a moment within magic and within the pop culture. So and I don't really have an answer for that. And I think I'm
Mhm.
just too on the inside to understand. I think I have this bias of like I'm still just we're all just nerds. I don't, and so I don't understand why you all think this is so cool, even though I spent my whole life doing it.
Yeah,
Um,
that's
but
neat.
I mean, my only guess, especially with the close-up magic, uh, the TV and Penn and Teller's Fool Us and that kind of a thing. Their TV show Fool Us has helped a lot with that. But I think right now it's like where I feel like Gen X was still very too cynical to bother enjoying a magic show too much.
Yeah.
I think there's hope in the other generations, in the pre
Yeah.
and the successive generations. So I think they like the idea of the magic, but also with how the I don't do TikTok, but I'm on Instagram. I'm flicking through reels. I'm watching novelty, 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 and a lot of it is fake. A lot of it is either staged or AI now or whatever. And I think there's something to the idea of just being intimately in a room at a table with a human being, showing you cool stuff that is not meant for this. It could be done on a screen, but
But it's
it's
not
not
being
meant.
digitally manipulated. It
Right.
is
It's
being manipulated by human fingers that are in the same room with you.
right,
Yeah.
right. And I think there's something about that people are really digging right now, of like honest spectacle, honest deceit,
Yeah.
um, and feeling connected. I think which is why they like the idea of just a person at a table with cards, as opposed to the big Vegas show where we know that's up there and I'm down here and I'm not up there, so I can't really understand how they're accomplishing it.
Right.
Um, yeah, so I think yeah, close-up magic is really having a moment right now. Um, and I mean, there's even like Vegas close-up shows. It's
Uh-huh.
just the guy at a table, right?
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, a little staging, but essentially you're just watching it's a giant showroom for one person at a table and a big screen.
Mhm.
And I'm sitting there going, I was doing that 50 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so it's having a moment right now, and so I'm grateful that John asked me to do my close-up show for you all.
Oh yeah, no, no, me too. And it also it just fits into me with the vibe of the festival of what I'm so excited. We're talking about a week before it starts right now, and just this idea. I think people. I know I am, but I think people are hungry for personal,
Mm-hmm.
in-person experiences to
Mm-hmm.
experience all kinds of magic, the magic of great acting, of great writing, but then actual magic,
Right,
because
right,
that's the
right.
thing is like, oh my God, it's like right there. And there is also something about that with so much manipulation going on algorithmically and
Hmm.
digitally, that the sort of the fact that a human person
Yeah.
can just by himself or herself do the most amazing things,
Right. Right.
that feeling, and it reminds us that wait, human beings are magic. We
Right.
don't need technology. We don't need manipulation. We don't need algorithms. That in
Hmm.
fact, and so in fact, yeah, authenticity is really cool.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, and it feels that way. And not to go in too much further in this, but it also feels like in our current political times that
Hmm.
this sense of shared communal joy and
Hmm.
delight is
Yeah.
something that really we can all use right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting how it makes me think of like, there's always phases for something, right? Uh, and when I was a kid, it was pretty much like if you were not a famous magician with a TV show, a yearly TV show, you were just doing kid shows. Or
Uh-huh.
you're just an uncle doing tricks for the family, right? It was very much like, well, what's your day job? Are you famous with a TV show? Then you're not a real magician, right? Um, and and then like that, and so close-up magic was definitely not a thing. Mind you, close-up magic is definitely something people got hired for. If you wanted to make a good living as a corporate entertainer in magic, which is how most magicians, if they work, they're either doing kid shows or corporate entertainment. Half of it is just doing walk around, just strolling at the cocktail party or the
Wow.
corporate event, right? And the better ones have done it for a long time, so they can charge a hefty chunk of change for 3 hours of showing the exact same four card tricks to like everybody at the party, yeah,
Well,
one at
that's
a
the
time,
nice
right?
thing about going around to different people in sequence. you,
Right,
you don't have to
right,
have like that length of original material,
right,
if you're
right.
just redoing it.
And I never do corporate because I don't want to walk up to strangers. Um, and it's dumb of me because I could make a much better living. But I've done it, but it's not my favorite thing to do. But
Oh, bless you.
I mean, I'll take some of their corporate money these days. Goodness
No,
me.
I think
Um,
I too am available for corporate money. I just do not want to work for corporations is the problem.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
And then like just now, just like close-up magic has been having like the thing.
Hmm.
It's just like these past many years, just like there's stage magic. It obviously exists, but people are really excited about just a person with playing cards, and it just goes to show that like you never know when your time is going to be,
Yeah, yeah.
because the culture has to go through their own times and shifts, and everything, you know, everything waxes and wanes. And for right now, with what's going on in the world now, we seem to love like you said, the authenticity, the authentic deceit of a close-up magic, uh, from just a human being just a few feet away from you. Um, I don't know if what it's gonna be the next thing in 10 years. Where people will or not will that become passe? Will people be like, well, we're over that now. Give us the big spectacle again.
Mhm.
I don't know. Will we exist in 10 years? I don't know.
Yeah, there are a lot of questions that come up in one's mind currently,
Yeah.
existentially. Yeah, but it's just really magical to me, just that both how you found who you are, what you do, or the many parts of you that you are, the many
Hmm.
personas, the multiple
Hmm.
personas you are, but that are so very. I mean, when I'm watching you do the show, I mean, it's a very specific voice. It's like a voice I haven't heard before. It's really strong. It's unusual. It's spooky. It's scary, and then it's funny, and stuff like that. And it's cool, like that you like made it through your panic attacks, you know,
Right.
and pushed through and found that and that also, and I'm so glad that like society is moved around so that it finds you, and that in my case, because my collaborator in this festival introduced me to you, like that I have found you and that my family's found you. It's like there's a randomness, but also it just sort of feels like a very happy way that fate can work.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
So
Yeah, and I've known John for a while. I don't even know how I met John. I've worked with John.
he told
Actually,
me no, he told me about a trick you did for him or to him in a bar. He wrote to me. He was just
oh
recently,
yeah,
like
that
you
was
did.
that was more recent. That was more recent. That was a couple years ago. Yeah, 3 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that he did that. He still, I could tell from his, like he was texting it to me, and he was freaking out texting it, like he was saying the trick that you did to him,
Yeah.
like it was so freaky, involving a flame and a deck of cards, and yeah,
Yes. Some
and
some
that
some
it
sympathetic magic with playing cards and fire. Yes.
yes with whatever and then
Yeah.
but that like he said all he could do was like he just had to run around the bar, like
He
he
did. He
actually
got up.
didn't know what to do with himself. He had to like run around the bar because it was just too spooky, it's too inexplicable. So yeah.
And I mean, I love that. I and it's so. I mean, this is very like internal magic magician thinking. Sorry, I have five thoughts at the same time. But again, and that on the same idea of like what I'm doing, what me and my friends do are having a moment right now, right?
Hmm.
Um, and that like running around the bar. Um, I a lot of the magic that I do still is like stuff that I learned years ago,
Hmm.
and it's just part of the repertoire now,
Yeah, yeah.
and I can't and I'm lucky that there's a show I get to be a part of in New York called Speakeasy Magic,
Hmm.
and it's close-up magicians. It's just you're just getting close-up magicians coming to your table for the evening,
Wow.
right?
Wow.
Um, and used to be kind of a regular fill-in when I because I live in New York half of the time. And to I guess that was sort of my answer to not doing corporate magic, is that's how I got to do like you get flight time, right? Even doing the corporate magic, the walk around, you're just getting flight time, right?
Hmm.
And so to be able to to part of me still kind of after at this point in my life, I've done many of these effects so many times that thankfully if I have a migraine and a breakup and late on a bill, I can still showbiz, showtime,
Yeah.
put on a good show. I'm gonna go be depressed again with my migraine as soon as I'm off the stage. But I'm like right now, ba 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 ba, for lack of a better term, phone it in, but phone it in professionally, right? And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
and then get off. And so I'm grateful to have that at this, especially at this stage of my life. But it's funny to me because I can also take them for granted that that they will have those things that I do will have an effect on someone like John years later, where he's got to type it to you in text, and he's
Yes, you're
still
right.
freaking out about it, right?
And he's still
Uh,
clearly freaking out, texting about it years later. He's freaking
right.
out while texting. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's exactly the impact I want to have. It's exactly the impact we all want to have. I just sometimes even forget that. Oh yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm kind of so used to it now. I'm very grateful to be in a place where I can be so used to it that I can do it and still give that experience. Um, and be in a time where people are really loving on that specific kind of a thing in a way that they didn't used to before.
Yeah.
Um, so
Oh, that's
yeah,
awesome. That's a really cool insight. Well, I really, like I told you before, I mean, I can't wait. Where the whole family here is very excited about seeing you perform your show Obscura at the One for All festival that I'm curating and hosting, and I'm so proud that you're going to be there. It's such a beautiful element of this wonderful lineup of people, and damn, can't wait to see your show. And thank you so much for taking this time to talk to me.
thank you very much. Appreciate it.
I will see you very soon
Okay.
in San Rafael.
All right.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.